Hi everybody, this is Shane R. Monroe, and I'm here to show you a really neat little device. I'm very excited to be talking about it. This is called the RAVPower FileHub, and as you can see, there's a little bit of tech laying around on the table here, and it's all because of all this technology that we need something like this little device. So first off, let's just take a look at the product. If you're watching this video, you probably already kind of know what it is, but you know, in the box you get a real simple manual with very, very tiny print. Hopefully you've got readers if you're old like me. And you'll get this USB-C cable. And then you get the unit itself. It's rather unremarkable. It looks like every other piece of tech on the table here. More like a big external battery, really. But what this does is it does so many different things, and I'm really excited to be able to show you all of this stuff. So where this came from, where I found out about this product, was I was looking for a means of handling photographs while I'm on vacation. So I've got my son's camera right here. My camera, of course, is actually shooting this video, so you can't see it. But we all have cameras. My wife has a camera. My mother-in-law has a camera. I've got a camera. I've got my phone. I've got, we've got disparate devices all taking pictures all at the same time. And at some point, we're eventually going to get it back to a computer and do something with it. But sometimes, you might want to share video and pictures and media amongst yourselves. Take a look at this great shot. Well, yeah, look at it on my little tiny, camera screen. You might get back to the hotel and you want to share pictures. You want to dump your pictures. SD cards are cheap, right? So everyone's like, well, if you run out of space, just buy another SD card. These things are so tiny. They're so cheap. You can get really big ones for really cheap. But most of you who do, even amateur photography know that the bigger these things tend to get, the slower they get. And of course, the more you risk losing information, right? So if you have, in this case, I've got an 8 gigabyte card in here. If I lose an 8 gigabyte card, I lose X number of pictures. So if I had a 128 gigabyte card in here, I might lose a ton more pictures if that card got corrupted or for whatever reason. So backing these things up, especially if you're on like a once-in-a-lifetime family vacation to Disneyland, you're spending 5 days there, you're shooting hundreds of pictures a day, you want to dump these all, you could probably do it back at the hotel on a laptop, but you're changing cars. It's ridiculous. So I was thinking to myself on a recent vacation, how great would it be if even in the middle of the day, we're in the middle of the vacation, and I just want to dump the pictures off of here and let my wife browse them on her phone. Right? Or I want my mother-in-law to dump her pictures. She's got an iPhone. We've got Samsung. Everybody's got something different. We really want a way of getting everybody connected. And that's what this little guy does. And it's super amazing. So let's take a look at the unit itself. And that might give a little something away about what it does for those of you who are just blind watching this video because you're a fan of mine. On the side, we have a couple of buttons here, an SD card slot, a full-size SD card slot. Over here on the side, we have a little rubber stopper that it's hard to see on there, I know, but we have a full-size USB port, a USB-C mini, and then a Ethernet port. And then we have a power button on the side, and that's pretty much it. We have a bunch of display icons up here that will be lighting up as we do things. And that's what it looks like in a nutshell. But what this product actually does is like 50 different things, and each one seems more cool than the next. So first off, it is very, very basic functionality. It does act as a 1 amp battery charger, right? So if you need to quickly top off your phone, give it a little bit of juice, get you through the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland, you can then use this device to give yourself a little bit of power. So that's a real basic thing. So it acts as a battery. It's I believe 5,600 milliamps for those who are keeping track, right? And it also will act as, believe it or not, it will act as a card reader or a disc reader. So if you plug this in here and plug this into a computer, which we have here, the device will show up. We've got to turn on. It's on. So now we need to plug something in. So we could plug in any sort of a USB or an SD card. So if we were plugging an USB drive, right? It'll come up on the computer as a readable medium. So we can use this as a sort of a hub. Of course, you could always take out your card here and plug it in here. And as you can see, the light comes on, you heard the beep come on, and now it's reading it as an SD card, and Windows 10 is going to pick it up and say, hey, what do you want to do with this thing? I got a USB or a drive in here. So it acts as a standard card reader, right? It's amazing how many times you're in a spot where you need something to read off of another micro SD card. Even if you have a computer handy, maybe you don't have a micro SD or an SD card slot. So that alone is just a neat little piece. So you got the charger, you've got a disk reader or a card reader, flash memory reader, right? So what else will this little guy do? Well, you see a whole lot more lights. You see some Wi-Fi stuff going on here. This little guy will actually act as a wireless access point. So if, for example, you wanted to take this card, well, let's shoot something here real quick. This SD card's only going one way. I always pick the wrong one, sometimes twice. All right, so I'm going to use my son's camera, and I'll just snake a picture of our environment here. All right, so now it's on the SD card. Nothing up my sleeve. This is not a Wi-Fi capable camera by any means. It's a decent camera, but it doesn't have any sort of connectivity. A lot of new cameras do. So you might be thinking, well, this device is kind of useless. My camera can already transfer Wi-Fi. I guarantee you it doesn't quite work as eloquently as this. So we stick this card in here, and we hit the power, and you'll see that it'll pick up the card here in just a moment once it does its little boot process in here. Hello. That is one thing I found that was rather annoying, is if you're using this as you're kind of holding it like this, you're trying to push an SD card in, you'll often hit the power button. So let me shut this guy off. All right. Oh, I must have hit it too long, so it's resetting. That's okay too. So now you can see the Wi-Fi is on, and I'll show you on my phone here how I can get connected to it, or on the PC actually, either way. Standard Wi-Fi spot. So I'll stick this card in now, and as you can see, it picked it up, and you'll see it start clicking away here, so it's looking at what's on the card right now. Now, we're not hooked up to a computer here. This is all self-contained. This could fit in your purse, your pocket, whatever. So the card's being read and parsed. So now, of course, we could plug it into the computer and read off the card, but we're in the middle of nowhere. I would like to get access to these files on my phone, right? So on my phone, I just go to my Wi-Fi. I find the device, the FileHub, in my device list. Connect. And now it is acting as my internet provider, my Wi-Fi provider at this moment in time. All right, so right now it says internet may not be available. That's right, because this is just an access point right now. It's not connected to any internet, but I can reach this device now by going to my browser and going to this address. Use the basic admin no password default. And now I'm inside, I'm actually hitting a web server on this little hub. Within there, I can now go to Explorer, and it will actually show you my SD card is available. If I go in there, I can now see all the folders on my SD card. I can go into my pictures, and I can bring up the picture we just took. I could then transfer it down to my phone, do whatever I want with the thing. So that's really, really cool. I could bring it down. I could actually transfer pictures from my phone, right? So I could grab this little guy and say I want to take a picture from my camera, right? So, or my camera phone. So I'm going to take that picture. Boop. All right, and now it's going to upload it to my SD card. Cool. So now I've got the picture off the phone, so I can go both ways. So that's really cool. Now, some of the features like looking at videos or photos, I don't know why that doesn't work. It doesn't work with the actual app either. So this is actually accessing this little guy as a web server. But there is an actual app that if you have it available, let me see if I've still got this thing running here. The FileHub application itself, which looks considerably more interesting. This actually, see, it shows that a disk was detected. It shows me how big it is, how much space is remaining. I can then, I can actually do photo backups right from here, from my phone to there. I can back up my contacts from my phone here. And then I can initiate something that's called an SD card backup. And we're going to get to that in just a few minutes here. So this is kind of cool. You can actually go in and do file management here. So it's more of a thick client version of this little web server that's on here. So that's cool. So I can now use this device to read my SD cards. And now listen, now Android can read it. My friend's laptop can read it. Anybody can read it as long as this hub is turned on and active. So we could sit around the hotel room and swap through SD cards, and we can sit there and look at each other's pictures, comment, laugh about stuff, call each other terrible photographers, whatever. So the next piece of the equation is what is this Ethernet port for? Well, the Ethernet port will allow you to plug into an existing network. Let's say that your home network or a business center at a hotel. Once you plug into the network, this becomes like a little wired access point. So now this access point becomes an internet-enabled hotspot. How fantastic is that, right? If you happen to have a hotel room that has an Ethernet port in the hotel room, you can plug it in here, and then all of your devices in the room, I think up to 5, if I remember right, 5 devices can hit this guy and use it as a Wi-Fi hub. Pretty damn cool. Of course, you can also use it over the airwaves as well, talking between devices. This also has a built-in Samba server. So if I were to go into my Windows 10, right, if we were all on the same network, and I think we could probably make that work out, if we were on the same network, plugged into my Ethernet, right, in my network, I could then use Explorer or Directory Opus or whatever my file manager is to actually go in and work with this device. So that's really neat too. It also works as a DNLA server. So if you've got a device like a DVD player in your room or whatever, something that will actually talk as a DLNA media server, this will actually pump those out as well. So that's really neat too. The main reason that I got this thing, and we're going to sort of allude ourselves to these buttons over here, I said to myself, how great would it be if I were on the go and my memory card was full, or, I'd snapped some really good shots and I'm really, really freaking out. Now I could, on the camera you can't see that's shooting this video, I can simply swipe it against my phone and it will start transferring pictures over. Not everybody has that luxury. My son doesn't have that luxury. My mother-in-law's phone and camera device don't work together. However, with this device, I can now take my SD card out of the camera, which I've already done. You've seen that, right? My camera's empty. Put it in here and then plug in an external device, such as a memory stick or even a hard drive. I can plug in a little mini hard drive, right? This is a standard powerless drive. And of course, I close this and I have no fingernails. This will be the highlight reel for the video. Get this open with here. Don't bite your nails, people. Terrible habit. Move this thing open. Yeah. All right. Fortunately, we're in the kitchen, so we use a tool. We have it. This does not come with a tool to open this little door, so hopefully you got fingernails, or eventually I'm sure you'll wear it down. So what I'll do is I'm going to plug this hard drive, this little mini hard drive, right into this guy. You can see the light came on. I hear the drive spinning up. You can now see that the SD card's being parsed. I think it actually shows drive activity for either way. So now that these guys are all hooked up, so now I've got an SD card in here from my camera, I've got a little portable external hard drive, I am now going to go back to this file hub, and you'll now see that I have 2 different devices here. I have my big fat hard disk with lots and lots of space free, and I have my SD card. Now you might know what this SD card backup is for. Now it's less of a cool deal if I tell you, well, using your phone and a special application, you can connect to this and copy files between the two. That's kind of like work, right? So we'll get rid of the phone. We'll put that out of the equation. What I really have right now, take that out of the way, is I have some sort of a storage device, and I have this with an SD card. Without a computer, without anything helping me out, no cell phone, no extra device. I'm in the field, I've got a hard drive, and I've got this little box, and I got my camera. That's it. And I got a 16 gigabyte SD card. I put it in here, SD to USB. No phone required, nothing. My mother-in-law's camera, my wife's camera, my camera. We one at a time, we stick our cards in, and we hold down this button for a few seconds. And as you can see, the light's going crazy. This light's going crazy. And now the contents, the entire contents of this SD card are being backed up to this hard drive. That's it, a one-button solution. Now, this SD card's really, really empty. In fact, it's only got one picture on it. Well, maybe two. So we'll go back to the phone now just to verify, because this is the way you look at it, right? So I'm going to go to my hard disk, right? So I'm at the hard disk. I'm going to do file management. And you can see now you can see two different devices. You can see the SD card and the USB. I'm going to go in here. There's now a folder recently created called SD Backup. We're going to go in there. We have a date time stamp folder name. Inside there is the contents of this SD card now sitting on this hard drive. So I can go in, take a look. As you can see, both the picture I uploaded earlier and the shot that I took are sitting on this hard drive right now without any device in between. To me, that's magic, right? Now, I'm not saying you have to bring this big hard drive, but you know, you can get like a 128 gig stick for practically nothing, right? You can use this, take this with you, a lot smaller, no cables. This allows you to do that. A couple of the other features that really make this cool is it also works as a network attached storage device. So let's say, for example, you don't have a disk station, a Synology disk station or something like that, but you would like to be able to access the contents of your hard drive on some other device across your network. So you plug this little guy into your network via Ethernet, and at that point in time, all of the connected SD card and your connected drive now shows up on your network, and you now have a network attached storage solution, all as part of this deal. This will also act as a router. So let's say your network, let's say your router goes down, right? You've got a really nice Nightwing router, or Nighthawk router, Nighthawk router. You love it. It's the bomb. It's a Saturday, and your router goes down. Everybody in the house is crying for connectivity. Your modem still works, but your router doesn't. You could run down to the store, spend $300, or you could just plug this little guy into your network, into your modem, and it will automatically become a full-blown router. That's amazing. So this will actually act as up to a 5G speed rating. So that's pretty neat stuff as well. And lastly, if all this wasn't enough, and this isn't enough fun, and it's not worth $50 to have one of these in your pocket on your next trip, believe me, you'll go nuts for this thing. The last thing that you can do with this guy is use it as a bridge. So what does that mean? All right, so let's say you're at a hotel Wi-Fi, right? Maybe your mother-in-law's next door in the room. Her Wi-Fi is like 4 bars. In your room, Wi-Fi is like 2 bars or 1 bar. Or maybe you don't want to pay for Wi-Fi twice, right? So your mother-in-law already sprung for the $10.99 a night super elite Wi-Fi. Well, this little guy acts as a bridge. So you can then use this to connect to the hotel's Wi-Fi. Even if it uses weird authentication, you can still get around it. And then all of your devices, your phones, your tablets, your laptop can all connect to this device and share one single Wi-Fi access point that your mother-in-law was already nice enough to pay for. So you get all of that in one little package, and it's really neat. I mean, it's sort of like a Swiss Army knife. You know, you got the battery, you got the NAS, you've got the SD card reader, you've got being able to copy a headless copying device where you can copy files with one button click. You can also do maintenance using, accessing these devices through your phone or through your computer on the same Wi-Fi. You have all of these different options available to you, and I've been dreaming about this since my last vacation. It's like, God, I wish I could have something that would just stick the card in, put a hard drive on it, and push the button and just sync it, back it up. I can now. What would a video of mine be like without a barking dog? It's just the way it is. Hey, shooting a video here, Max. Why do you do that? Do you got to bark bomb every single video I do? Bark bomb, that's a trademark, patent pending, by the way, so don't steal it. All right, so again, this is the RAVPower FileHub. This is the latest version, the WD007 edition. There's a 003 edition, there's a 005 edition. If you read the reviews of this RAVPower, you will find some people will say, well, the last version was actually better. It's got a bigger battery. It doesn't run as warm. There's all sorts of different caveats, but they're very similar in operation. But again, there were devices like this years and years and years ago that had little screens on them, and you could look through your photos and do sort of on-site culling and that sort of thing. But that was like $800-900. This is $50. This is almost an impulse buy. If you're already planning to spring for 20 grand for a trip to Orlando and Disneyland or Disney World for 5 days, you could do a lot worse than to have 1 or 2 of these kicking around. If nothing else, just to get to the hotel at the end of the night and collate all your pictures into one location. And of course, once you're here on your phone with them, once you're on the phone, then you can post to social media, right? So again, the camera that you can't see has that ability to send Wi-Fi over to my phone. This camera does not. If my son wants to share a picture to social media without something like this, he doesn't get to do it, right? Because he doesn't have a cell phone. He's 12. He doesn't get a smartphone, but he does get a camera, and so he's all excited to be able to share that. So anyway, again, this is the RAVPower WD007. This is called the FileHub, and you can get it at Amazon. You can get it at RAVPower.com's website. It's $50, and I'm telling you, this is one of the more neat devices I've had the pleasure of looking at. I was not a paid compensated endorser. I paid full price for this, just like everybody else. I'm just really excited to be able to share it with you and show you guys what the thing's capable of. It's really neat. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel, like me, retweet me, do whatever you need to do. Get the word out there if you enjoy this video and others like it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And take a look at this thing. I'm telling you, this thing is so cool. RAVPower FileHub WD007. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Thanks for watching.